Have you ever felt utterly confused by your dog's behavior? It can be like trying to understand a foreign language, right? Dogs communicate constantly, but not with words we understand. They use a language of subtle movements, postures, and expressions. It's a world of wags, whines, and wary stares. Mastering this language is the key to a deeper bond with your canine companion. Stay tuned, because in this complete guide, you'll learn how to decode every tail wag, ear twitch, and playful bow. By the end, you'll see the world through your dog's eyes. Let's face it, we've all fallen for a wagging tail. It seems like such a simple signal, a universal symbol of doggy joy. But the truth is, a tail can tell a much more complex story. A full-body wag, where the entire dog seems to wiggle with happiness, usually does mean your dog is thrilled to see you. But a stiff, high-held wag can actually be a warning sign, a way of saying, back off. And a tucked tail, held low between the legs, often signals fear or anxiety. Learning to read the subtleties of tail language is like cracking a secret code to your dog's emotions. Imagine this. You come home to find your dog has gotten into the trash. You're understandably upset, but before you scold your furry friend, take a look at their tail. Is it tucked low, perhaps even slightly trembling? That's a clear sign of stress and anxiety. Your dog isn't being defiant. They're already feeling bad about the mess. In this situation, a harsh punishment would only make them more fearful. Instead, a gentle approach and some positive reinforcement training will be much more effective. Remember that dogs experience a wide range of emotions, just like we do, and their tails are one of the most expressive parts of their bodies. By paying attention to the position, speed, and direction of the wag, you'll gain valuable insights into what your dog is feeling. Is your dog's tail wagging more to the right side? This could indicate a positive emotion, like seeing their favorite human. But a tail wagging predominantly to the left might suggest a negative emotion, such as feeling threatened by another dog. So next time you see a dog, don't just glance at the wagging tail. Take a moment to really observe it. What is the tail's position? How fast is it wagging? Is the wag more pronounced on one side? By understanding the nuances of tail language, you'll unlock a deeper level of communication with your furry friend. While a dog's tail steals the show in terms of obvious body language, their ears are equally expressive. Those floppy, furry triangles are like miniature radar dishes, constantly moving to pick up sounds and convey emotions. When your dog's ears are perked up, pointing forward like two satellite dishes, searching for a signal, it usually means they are alert and interested. Something has caught their attention, and they are laser-focused on figuring out what it is. But ears flattened against the head, almost blending in with the fur, paint a very different picture. This is a classic sign of fear or anxiety. Think about a time you felt threatened or scared. You might have instinctively ducked your head down, trying to make yourself smaller. Dogs do the same thing, and flattening their ears is part of that self-protective posture. Ears can also provide clues about a dog's intentions during play. If you see a dog's ears swiveling back and forth, almost like they're trying to catch every sound of the game, it's a good sign they are engaged and having fun. But if those ears suddenly flatten against the head, it's time to give the dog some space. They might be feeling overwhelmed or signaling that the play is getting too rough. Next time you're interacting with your dog, pay close attention to their ear position. Are they relaxed and neutral, slightly forward in anticipation, or flattened against their head in fear? Understanding these subtle cues will give you a deeper understanding of your dog's emotional state. One of the most endearing sights in the canine world is the playful bow. You know the one. Front legs stretched out low to the ground, hindquarters high in the air, tail wagging with joyous abandon. It's an invitation to play, a way for dogs to say, "Let's have some fun," and it's hardwired into their DNA, appearing in puppies as young as a few weeks old. But the play bow is more than just a cute pose. It's a crucial part of canine communication, helping dogs initiate and maintain play without things getting out of hand. Imagine two dogs meeting for the first time. One dog might approach cautiously, tail wagging slowly. Suddenly, the other dog throws their body into a playful bow. That simple act instantly diffuses tension and communicates, "Hey, I'm friendly. Let's have some fun." Even during a rambunctious game of chase, dogs use the play bow to signal their intentions. A dog might pause mid-chase, drop into a bow, and then take off running again. This tells the other dog, "I'm not really trying to catch you, just having a blast." It's a way of ensuring the play remains enjoyable for everyone involved. So next time your dog greets you with a playful bow, don't just smile and move on. Engage with them. Grab a toy, toss a ball, or simply run around the yard together. Your dog will be thrilled to have a playmate, and you'll strengthen the bond between you. Yawning, more than just tired. We yawn when we're tired, bored, or maybe just because we saw someone else do it. But when a dog yawns, it's not always a sign they need a nap. In fact, yawning can be a surprisingly complex form of canine communication. Sure, sometimes a dog yawn is just a dog yawn. If your dog has been playing fetch for an hour straight, a yawn probably means they're exhausted and ready for a nap. But in other contexts, yawning can be a way for dogs to communicate stress, anxiety, or even displacement behavior. Picture this. You're at the vet's office and your dog is feeling anxious. The waiting room is full of unfamiliar people and pets. The air is thick with a mix of scents, and the overall atmosphere is a bit overwhelming. Your dog might start yawning excessively, even if they just woke up from a nap. In this case, the yawning is a way for them to release stress and try to calm themselves down. Yawning can also be a form of displacement behavior, which is any behavior that seems out of place or irrelevant to the situation. Imagine you're scolding your dog for chewing on your favorite shoes. Instead of cowering or looking guilty, your dog starts yawning repeatedly. They're not tired, they're trying to diffuse the tension and avoid conflict. The next time you see your dog yawn, take a moment to consider the context. Are they relaxed and comfortable? Or are they showing other signs of stress, like lip licking, whale eye, or a tucked tail? Paying attention to these subtle cues will give you a better understanding of what your dog is trying to communicate. Lip licking, a sign of stress? We often associate lip licking with anticipation of a delicious treat. And while dogs certainly do lick their chops when they smell something tasty, lip licking can also be a subtle sign of stress or anxiety. Imagine you're introducing your dog to a new person. The stranger reaches out their hand to pet your dog, but instead of greeting them with a wagging tail, your dog freezes, licks their lips repeatedly, and then turns away. This is a clear sign that your dog is uncomfortable. They might be feeling threatened or overwhelmed by the situation. Lip licking can also occur in situations where a dog feels trapped or unable to escape. For example, if a dog is afraid of loud noises and a thunderstorm rolls in, they might start lip licking excessively as a way to cope with their fear. Or, if a dog is forced into an uncomfortable situation, like being hugged too tightly, lip licking might be their way of signaling their discomfort. The key to understanding lip licking as a stress signal is to look for other accompanying body language cues. Is your dog also showing whale eye, where you can see the whites of their eyes? Are their ears flattened against their head? Is their tail tucked low between their legs? If you see a cluster of these stress signals, it's a good indication that your dog is feeling anxious and needs some space. Don't ignore your dog's subtle signals. By learning to recognize the signs of stress, you can create a more relaxed and enjoyable environment for your canine companion. Speaking softly, the art of calming signals. Imagine walking into a room full of strangers. Do you stride confidently into the center? Or do you find yourself looking for a familiar face, maybe even shrinking back a little? Just like us, dogs have their own ways of navigating social situations. They use a fascinating repertoire of subtle body language cues called calming signals to diffuse tension, communicate their intentions, and maintain social harmony. These signals are their way of saying, "It's okay, I'm friendly, let's not fight." Think of calming signals as the dog world's equivalent of a diplomatic envoy. Just as a skilled diplomat uses tact and subtle gestures to smooth over potential conflicts between nations, dogs use calming signals to prevent misunderstandings and keep things peaceful. These signals can be incredibly subtle, often missed by the untrained human eye. But once you learn to recognize them, you'll gain a whole new level of understanding of your dog's emotional intelligence and their remarkable ability to communicate without words. Dogs use calming signals in a wide range of situations, when greeting other dogs, meeting new people, or even when they're feeling slightly stressed in a familiar environment. By understanding these signals, you'll be able to interpret your dog's behavior more accurately, avoid inadvertently making them uncomfortable, and build a stronger, more trusting bond. So, the next time your dog yawns, when you're scolding them for chewing on your slippers, don't just assume they're bored. They might be trying to tell you, in their own subtle way, "Hey, I know I messed up, but can we please calm down now?" Learning to listen to these calming signals is like unlocking a secret language of love and understanding with your furry friend. Now that you know calming signals are the dog world's secret language of peace, let's delve into some of the most common cues to watch for. These subtle gestures can easily be missed if you don't know what to look for. But once you learn to recognize them, you'll be amazed at how frequently dogs use them. One of the most prevalent calming signals is the simple act of looking away. Have you ever noticed your dog averting their gaze when you're giving them a stern talking to? They're not being defiant. They're trying to de-escalate the situation. Turning their head away is their way of saying, "I'm not a threat, please don't be angry." Similarly, a dog might break eye contact with another dog during a greeting as a way of saying, "I come in peace." Another common calming signal is the classic shake-off. You know that full body wiggle dogs do after a bath? They also use it when they're feeling stressed or anxious as a way to release tension. So, if your dog shakes off after a tense encounter with another dog at the park, they're not necessarily wet, they're just trying to shake off the stress. Yawning, as we discussed earlier, is another multifaceted signal that can indicate tiredness, but also stress or anxiety. A dog might yawn repeatedly when they're feeling overwhelmed in a new environment, or when they're trying to diffuse tension during a tense interaction. And then there's the slow blink, a wonderfully expressive signal that speaks volumes. When a dog looks at you and slowly closes their eyes, almost like they're savoring a moment, they're conveying trust and affection. It's their way of saying, "I feel safe with you." Recognizing calming signals is only half the battle. Once you understand what your dog is trying to communicate, it's crucial to respond in a way that respects their feelings and helps them feel safe and secure. Think of it this way. If someone were trying to de-escalate a tense situation by speaking softly and using calming body language, you wouldn't yell back at them, would you? The same principle applies to our canine companions. When your dog uses a calming signal, it's their way of saying, "I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed right now." The worst thing you can do is punish them or force them into a situation that's making them uncomfortable. Instead, try to give them the space they need to calm down. If they're turning their head away, don't force eye contact. If they're yawning excessively, give them a break from whatever is stressing them out. It's also important to remember that dogs are highly sensitive to our body language. If you're feeling stressed or anxious, your dog will pick up on it and mirror your emotions. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and try to approach the situation with a calm and reassuring demeanor. Your dog will thank you for it. One of the most powerful things you can do when your dog is using calming signals is to simply acknowledge their feelings. Get down on their level, speak in a soft and soothing voice, and let them know that you understand they're feeling stressed. You can even use calming signals yourself, like slow blinks and yawning, to help create a more relaxed atmosphere. By learning to recognize and respond to your dog's calming signals, you're not just becoming a better dog owner, you're becoming a fluent speaker in their language of love and understanding. You're building a deeper, more trusting bond based on mutual respect and compassion. That iconic symbol of canine joy, that furry metronome beating out a rhythm of pure happiness. But hold on a minute. While a loose, full-body wag usually signals a happy pup, tail language is far more nuanced than many people realize. It's a bit like assuming every human smile means genuine happiness. Sometimes there's a lot more going on beneath the surface. Imagine this. You're walking down the street with your dog when you encounter another canine on leash. Your dog's tail starts wagging furiously, whipping back and forth like a furry windshield wiper on high speed. He's making a friend, you think, beaming with pride. But before you let the dogs greet, take a closer look at that wag. Is it a relaxed, full-body wiggle? Or is it a stiff, high-held wag, almost like a flag waving in the wind? The latter can actually be a sign of arousal, not necessarily friendliness. A stiff, high wag, especially when accompanied by other tense body language like a closed mouth, hard stare, or raised hackles, can be a warning signal. It's the dog's way of saying, "I'm feeling a bit unsure about this situation. Back off." Misinterpreting this crucial signal can lead to unwanted conflict, especially if the other dog also misreads the cues. Remember, dogs communicate with their entire bodies, not just their tails. So, the next time you see a wagging tail, don't jump to conclusions. Take a moment to observe the dog's overall body language. Are their ears perked up or flattened against their head? Is their mouth open and relaxed or closed tight? Are they approaching in a loose, wiggly way or with a stiff, upright posture? By paying attention to the subtle nuances of canine body language, you can avoid misinterpreting a wag and keep everyone safe and happy. We humans are hardwired to find smiles irresistible. A beaming grin can melt away stress, boost our mood, and forge instant connections. So it's no wonder we're quick to interpret a dog's open-mouthed grin as a sign of pure joy. But hold on. While dogs certainly do use their mouths to express a range of emotions, their version of a smile can sometimes be misleading. That adorable panting grin your dog flashes when you're playing fetch? That's likely a sign of pure enjoyment. They're having a blast, their tongue lolling out as they catch their breath. But a dog showing their teeth with a tense body, wrinkled muzzle, and whale eyes, showing the whites of their eyes, that's not a smile. It's a warning. It's their way of saying, I'm feeling threatened, and I'm prepared to defend myself. Imagine this. You're at a dog park, and a playful pup bounds up to your dog, tail wagging and mouth open in what appears to be a friendly grin. But your dog freezes, pulls back their lips, and lets out a low growl. Why is he being so grumpy? Someone might ask. But your dog isn't being grumpy. They're reading the subtle cues that the other dog might be sending unintentionally. Perhaps the approaching dog's body is stiff, their tail wagging high and fast, their eyes wide and unblinking. These are all signs of over-arousal, which can quickly escalate into unwanted behavior. Just as we humans use smiles to mask a range of emotions, from nervousness to outright deception, dogs have their own reasons for flashing their pearly whites. It's crucial to remember that a dog's smile isn't always a sign of happiness. Paying attention to the context and accompanying body language is essential to avoid misinterpreting their intentions. We've all been there. You come home to find your favorite slippers shredded to pieces, a telltale trail of stuffing leading to your furry companion who's sitting there with that classic guilty look. Head lowered, eyes averted, tail tucked between their legs. He knows he did wrong, you might exclaim, feeling a mixture of amusement and exasperation. But here's the thing, that guilty look might not be what we think it is. While dogs are incredibly adept at reading our emotions, there's no scientific evidence to suggest they experience guilt in the same way humans do. That hangdog expression we interpret as remorse is more likely a response to our body language and tone of voice. Dogs are masters at reading our emotional cues, and they've learned that when we come home to a disaster zone, we tend to adopt a certain stance, a particular tone that signals our displeasure. Think about it from your dog's perspective. They shredded the slippers hours ago. In their mind, the deed is done, the fun was had, the case is closed. But suddenly you walk in the door, your energy shifts, your voice changes, and you're staring at them with that, I can't believe you did that look. Your dog, being the perceptive creature they are, picks up on these cues and responds accordingly. They cower, they avert their gaze, they try to make themselves small and unthreatening. They're not confessing to the crime, they're trying to appease their upset human. So, the next time you encounter the guilty look, resist the urge to jump to conclusions. Instead of focusing on punishment, which is likely to be ineffective after the fact, focus on positive reinforcement. Reward your dog for good behavior, provide plenty of mental and physical stimulation, and manage their environment to prevent unwanted chewing. Remember, building a strong, trusting bond based on clear communication and positive reinforcement is far more effective than relying on outdated notions of canine guilt. Imagine trying to learn a new language from someone who's constantly yelling, frowning, and using confusing gestures. You'd probably feel stressed, confused, and not very motivated to learn, right? Now imagine that same teacher speaking in a calm, encouraging tone, using clear hand signals, and rewarding your efforts with a smile. That's a much more enjoyable and effective learning environment, wouldn't you say? The same principle applies when training our canine companions. It's not just about teaching them commands, it's about building a language of trust, understanding, and mutual respect. When we approach training with a focus on clear communication and positive reinforcement, we create a learning environment where our dogs can thrive. Think of yourself as a guide, not a dictator. Your dog wants to please you, but they need your help to understand what you want. This is where understanding dog body language becomes crucial. By paying attention to your dog's subtle cues, you can adjust your training approach to ensure they feel safe, confident, and engaged. Remember, training should be a joyful experience for both you and your dog. When you approach training as a collaborative effort, a chance to strengthen your bond and deepen your understanding of each other, you'll be amazed at what you can achieve together. So, how do we actually use dog body language to enhance our training sessions? It's all about paying attention to the subtle signals your dog is sending and responding in a way that builds trust and understanding. Let's say you're teaching your dog the stay command. You give the command, your dog hesitates, their ears flatten slightly against their head, and they start licking their lips. An untrained eye might see this as defiance, but you know better. You recognize these subtle cues as signs of stress or anxiety. Instead of pushing your dog further, which could escalate their anxiety, you take a step back. You crouch down to their level, speak in a soothing voice, and offer a gentle pat. You might even try breaking the command down into smaller, more manageable steps, rewarding your dog for every tiny success. By recognizing and responding to your dog's body language, you're not only preventing frustration, but you're also building their confidence. You're showing them that you understand their feelings, that you're there to guide them, not force them. Remember, dogs are incredibly perceptive creatures. They pick up on our energy, our tone of voice, even the slightest shift in our body language. By approaching training with a calm, patient, and understanding demeanor, you'll create a learning environment where your dog feels safe to learn and grow. Training your dog should be an enjoyable experience for both of you. It's a chance to strengthen your bond, build trust, and create a language of partnership that will last a lifetime. But sometimes, frustration can creep in, especially if we're not communicating effectively. One of the most common mistakes dog owners make is relying too heavily on verbal commands. While words are important, they're only a small part of how dogs communicate. Remember, dogs are masters of body language. They've been communicating with each other using subtle signals for centuries. So, how do we bridge the communication gap? By incorporating clear, consistent body language into our training sessions. Instead of just saying sit, pair the command with a hand signal, a gentle upward motion of your hand. When your dog lies down, don't just say good dog, crouch down to their level, offer a gentle scratch behind the ears, and let your face reflect your pride in their accomplishment. Remember, dogs are incredibly attuned to our emotions. If you're feeling frustrated, your dog will pick up on it, and it will sabotage your training efforts. So, take a deep breath, let go of any tension, and approach each session with a positive, playful attitude. By combining clear verbal cues with consistent body language and a toolbox full of positive reinforcement techniques, you'll transform your training sessions from frustrating chores into fun, bonding experiences that will enrich your relationship for years to come. Remember that confused feeling we talked about at the beginning, like you were trying to understand a foreign language? By now, you're well on your way to becoming fluent in dog. You've learned that a wagging tail doesn't always mean happiness. A doggy grin can be misleading, and that guilty look might be something else entirely. Most importantly, you've discovered that dogs are constantly communicating, using a subtle language of ears, eyes, and posture. By learning to read these signals, you're not just becoming a better dog owner, you're building a deeper, more meaningful bond with your furry friend. You're learning to see the world through their eyes, to understand their fears and anxieties, and to appreciate their unique way of expressing love and affection. So keep observing, keep learning, and keep exploring the fascinating world of dog body language. The rewards are endless. And hey, if you found this guide helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more amazing dog content. We've got tons of tips, tricks, and heartwarming stories to share. See you in the next video.